Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we're looking at smoothing time series data, and here we're using mean smoothing but with even numbers. So 2 mean smoothing with centering or 4 mean smoothing with centering. Now previously when we used the odd number of means, because we were taking the mean of say these 3 values all together, when we took that mean, we automatically centered it on the 2. So what happens if we just use a 2 mean smoothing? Now, I don't see any real mathematical purpose for this, except VC insists you know it, and you just have to know the process. They will ask you, you have to know the process. So, here we go. Alright, 2 mean smoothing is if you want to take and center it on month 2. So we're aiming for here. You take the mean of the first 2 values. So the mean of the first 2 values of the one you want it centered on and the one immediately to its left or before it is 10 plus 14 on 2 is equal to 12. Then you take the mean of the right-hand 2 values. So 14 plus 15 over 2 is equal to 14.5. Now what that's really got you is the mean of here and here. Now to center it on the 2, what we do is we add them together and divide by 2. So we do 12 plus 14.5 over 2 is equal to 26.5 divided by 2, 13.25. Right. So therefore the value that would fall in, just freezing up, here with 2 mean smoothing is 13.25. Taking the left pair, the right pair, so 2 means either way, and then the mean of those means. So for this one here, we would take the mean of those 2, the mean of those 2 is 14.5, and the mean of these 2. So you would do 14.5, which is the yellow mean, plus 16, which is the blue mean, and then divide that by 2, and we would have a mean smoothing here of 15.25. Alright, I'm running out of space. Let me just stretch that a little further out. Here, we would then do these 2, and then the average of those 2 pairs. Clearly, this does get a little tedious. Alright, for the sake of argument, let's do 4 mean smoothing with centering. Now, 4 mean smoothing with centering looks like this. We miss the first 2. So, we would want it centered on here. To center it on here, we take the average of all of these. So, that is 2 to the before it, 1, and then 1 after. And we find the average of all of them. Give me 1 second. And the average of all of them is 14. So I'm just going to write that over here somewhere. 14 to remind us. Then, we're still centering on 3. We take these 4 and find the average of all of them. So average of all of them would be 29 plus 17 plus 13 divided by 4 is 14.75. Then we average those 2 for the value we're after, which becomes here 14.375. Right. Now you can be asked to plot or smooth these by hand. So this is our temperature plot here, which is lovely and smoothed, that is the raw data. If we want to plot the smooth data, the 2 mean smoothing centered on month 2 becomes 13.25. So we would put a point in here at 13.25. Then centered on month 3 becomes 15.25. So 15.25 is actually slightly up. It is there. And so on. So we can plot these by hand. Also, we can do them in the calculators. So that was our median smoothing from last video. Let's look at 2 mean smoothing. 2 mean. we have our original data in column B. And we know that for two mean smoothing, we can't do the first one, we must start down the second row down. So what we want here is the average of the first two, average of the second two, and the average of those two. Alright, average of the first two looks like this, B1 plus B2 over 2. And then we add that to B2 plus B3 over 2. Then we take that divided by 2. So this here, hoping we can see it in the view screen. That bit there is the average of the first two, which is added to the average of the second two, and then divided by 2 to get us our 13.25, which is what we had here, 13.25. Now I'm hoping this works. If we click and drag it down, poor computer is getting a bit overloaded with all the things I'm asking it to do, is the 15.25. So our calculators are incredibly useful with doing this smoothing rather than us having to do the legwork by hand. It's important we need to know how to do it by hand, but the computer really does help us. And we can look at what this smoothing does. Data and statistics, we want time down here. Average temp was our original data. Then if we go menu, plot properties, add a Y variable, we want to look at two mean smoothing. We can see that it's smoothed down. Perhaps not as much as 3 mean, and certainly not as much as, perhaps not as much as 3 mean or 5 mean in the first video, but it's smoothed down. And you can use a similar formula approach to do it with your calculator with 4 mean. Alright, so they are the mean smoothings. Next video, the median ones. Median ones are easier, but harder to do on the calculator. Alright, thank you very much.